I'm inside of this demo account and I'm just playing around. I don't really have any stops in here. I started off with stops and made about $20,000 with a $100,000 account. And then I went all in. Um, who couldn't go all in on the euro here? But see, here's the thing about um, the reason I made those $10 scripts. Somebody's asking about these $10 scripts is because I was trying to um, enter the trade on the mindset that it's just nothing more than a lottery ticket that you have to buy a $10 ticket, right? They're the $10 tickets. But they typically will make your $10 back, and now you're in this higher game, right? It's the same ratio, isn't it? I mean, if you buy $2 tickets a day, your exposure is pretty low, and your chance of making back anything is pretty low. So I was trying to say to people that are buying these lottery tickets, stop, cut it out. You know, it's like you just have to think about, if you're worried about money, do the check up front, right? So you got the rent, you got the electric paid, you're just waiting for somebody to come in. So for me, it's going to be coming into my trap. And I built this indicator using the fabulous $20 a month AI because I just gave up on, honestly, I thought my video was brilliant. Of course, it's privately posted for the people on Uptime to see it. But you just get these canned responses. They might even be fucking AI. I'm not even sure. So I built this thing, basically 6 time frames, 4-hour chart blocks. And, you know, I'm going with Eastern Standard Time on that. So we just are starting the next stripe coming into the end of the week now. And we're looking right now currently at the fabulously, insanely volatile dollar yen. So I would say if you're going to use the $10 drops, you don't have to put many on this one. This is 20 pip grid on this. And I took away the big round numbers just so you can focus on trying to make 20 pips. I don't think you can put a tighter stop than 20 on this thing. Like, I'm thinking, now on the spectrum of having a risk layout of, okay, I'm going to go $10. The other point of that is that I can put a 100 pip stop in and play 100 pip stop games. I just got to put more tickets in because I'm just trading a 1K. So it's more work, and I get that. Nobody wants to work. That's the whole reason they're trading, because they don't want to have to lift a fucking girder or something. They still make those shit. That shit. They outlaw steel yet. So so coming back to the basics of stuff now, and I've looked at this market a million times a Tuesday, and when you see the market on this, every vertical dotted line on here is just one day. So it's very concise and clear where the mega auctions are on here, where it's just fucking ripping down in a 4-hour. I mean, if it doesn't pop out to you, you fucking got a problem, right? So the orange is the 5 a.m., right? Coming in there, it's going to be 5 p.m. 0 time for the broker, and that is that first magenta, I suppose, that blue. Where now we just closed out that. Now we're stepping into this turquoise thing, I think. I'm colorblind, so I can only see the orange and the blue. But we go up here. If we can take out, so my whole thinking on this is that I'm a contrarian. My first ticket I would put in here, but of course I'd be like, yeah, okay, I'm going to get filled on that. And is it really going to pull back at least 10 pips? So I think I actually have a array that I posted that's like, okay, we're going to risk. We're going to just, $10 per ticket. That allows us to trade like a 10K with a 10 pip stop. or a 20 pips, a tighter stop. So instead of a 100 pip stop, it's got to be 50 pips. And now we're going to put a 2K in to equal that's the first step, right? And then when you get to the third, and this is why people trade with Fibonacci, because, let's face it, I don't know how people aren't figured this out yet, but you got to put in at least 3 tickets. You're going to buy one at the market, like a slob, and then, unless you could buy it on the clock, which is you got to be there when that happens. When this thing's climaxing on this line chart, which is the closing prices, and when that happens, if you got a robot that's going to say, if it closes, I would tell the robot, if it closes below this session, this is the U.S. Psycho session, this is 1 p.m., we're going to fade into blue and drift, and here comes, 5 p.m., now it's 9 p.m., right now it's 1 a.m., now it's 5 a.m., and look how it's just, like, you talk about a very rare but insane ratio is to put your fucking tickets on the lonely rooftop. In a 20 pip window, is this not a good trade? How many fucking pips is that, right? The same could be said by just putting buy limits in this area here. Now, if the spread's too wide, that's not going to fill because these are all bid prices built on. Now, on the top, that's not true. I met this guy that said he makes more money selling. Yes, because if you actually put your sell limit up here, I'll tell you, you got filled in a 20 pip window, and how many fucking pips is that? Now, you could say all sorts of things here at this point, right? If you're trying to do this, I want to risk 20 to make 80. Yeah, that's pretty rare. Like, here's one, but this took a whole, you made 60. And you had to wait till the next day. When U.S. Open, when of course there's people like me that are saying, dude, every time it comes down here, I'm buying. I just I'm very good at buying. So if it's down, it's kind of obvious, right? And it's just below 3 pips below 20 handle. Yeah, it's even a better fucking price. So if the robot keeps locking in, I haven't got AI to do that yet, but I'm working on it. Because, with the AI, you just tell it, dude, just pick out the fucking 20 pip handle in the middle of the day, wherever it's like dicking around and becoming a doji, ready to break. And the trend traders, the guy that has the perfect moving fucking average here is like, it's perfect. I got it right here, just like textbook. Yeah, no, dude, you mean to tell me, and this is where I just would rather trade 1,000 tickets than 10. Like 10 is just, okay, I guess so. But see, here's the idea. You got $100, you got 10 tickets. Now, it's just like a chess game. You don't have infinite players. You don't have infinite money. You got 8 guys, 8 pawns there. Okay, these are going to be like, I'm going to have bad ratios on those. But those are things that make money and position you to psychologically get used to putting your orders on the edge of the abyss. Now, you may go into the abyss. This is where people are like, oh, wait, I had it all set up, and then we fucking put $380 on a trade. So I don't know if these people are still listening, but there was a guy that was playing poker, and he said, I want to risk like $380. I'm like, why? Like, how? Like, for me, $5 is still $5. So I'd rather put a 50 pip stop on a 1K than and have them staggered. So yeah, maybe one actually is a Fibonacci fucking entry, but it doesn't. Now in this one, I could go through here for fucking 3 hours and pick out every fucking amazing setup just on this 1 hour chart inside this 4 hour time frame. Explicitly seeing when the fucking U.S. market opens, the guy that's got $1 million ticket on the top tick Tommy of the fucking Asian session, and he picks this up and he's like, I just made fucking 40. You know how much money that is? And all he did was, his first target was probably here. I would have been mine because, hey, listen, this is a little whatever order block thing. And not to mention, if tops become bottoms, when it comes back here, you don't think I'd have like, oh, dude, if as soon as it gets some here, like I'm sure there's a fib handle here, right? 618 pull back, buying that bitch. Are you there for that? Now look at this; it's endless. In here, it's just here's the triangle right here, and then it breaks out. But if you had your stop here, you got in, you're a fucking genius, and then you're like, what the fuck? Some bullshit news came out. Yeah, well, there was a vacuum forming underneath. I look at it like there was a vacuum forming at the triangle. It's not the apex of the triangle that matters. It's all the pressure, all the vacuum here itching to be crushed into because, the path of least resistance is always going to be into the vacuum. And this is just typical shit. Look at this beautiful fucking trend line, and then it breaks. And this is textbook, like top tick, double top, head and shoulders, and then it starts to come apart. And if you held on, so if you're the guy that was like, I sold here, I got out here, hopefully he didn't get stopped out here, right? Now this is the smart money trade, what people talk about. But dude, there's only two of those on the fucking chart. There's this motherfucker and this, and it is fucking ridiculous, right? When that spiked out and the news came out, bring the U.S. markets over, they're losing their fucking mind. And all the guys that are like, yeah, dude, I'm a trend trader. It's going to keep going up. Can't you see? And then, heartbreak. I guess this is the other one I forgot to point out. But then I would say this is the other one, right? But these are the monsters. You bought here, you got out here, you're like, pfft. But the problem is your equity is looking fucking great here, and then you're like, oh fuck, like I would have drawn down if you're in a single position, you never peeled one ticket out of there. I can't do it. So what I do is I say, okay, am I gonna buy down here? I'm like, dude, if we take out this lonely wick, if we take this out, and we did, right? You can see the power buying that started here. Like now, this is my trade. I could probably say, I'll go 20 pip grid. So there's a 4K. That's $40, whatever. Now the tight stops. If I put it, I think the tightest stop I built on that was maybe 18 pips, 17 and a half pips. Is that what it would be on a 5K? Something like that. But put the spread in there just to be on the safe side, really make it like, realistic, Don't try to do like a schmooze reality like these fucking people over there. You can't sell your home at a discount. Dude, it just burned down. Wow. Can you believe these fucking people? That reminds me of this chart here. Look at this beautiful bottom becomes a top here. This right in U.S. session. U.S. to U.S. and then blam, bye-bye. But I'm like, dude, I would have had limits in here when it was here. I'd be like, if it comes below here, no. So I'm always thinking, where are we going to go next? I missed the fucking up train. I could take the down trade. I've been selling lately because it's fucking beautiful, right? You got your sell limit above U.S. You get filled in Asia. Now, that's not a lot of pips. But if you sell into this, I suppose I could have a robot but the problem with the robot backtesting that shit is that since these are so rare of a setup, and if you're a day trader, I don't know how often this guy was planning to trade, but he wanted to make money like all of us. So you have to be realistic here. If you limit your trading, the girl that was talking, I think it was a girl, talking about what do you do when you want to trade on your phone? Well, the 1 hour chart here, you got to have a little bit, when the market's highly volatile like this, and it's those times when you're like, holy shit, you look at your phone. But if you had pendings in there, you could add them in there with a 1 week expiration, 1 month expiration, just to be a disciplined trader. I guess that's what it really comes down to, is if you do believe your trading plan is doing stuff like putting your buy limit at the low of the previous day, and this is going to be your first fill, and you got a 100 pip stop on that. And your second fill is going to just obviously be for that if you're this kind of guy that's going to buy these supply zones here or these order blocks or whatever they are. And the lonely wick gets even, but see, this doesn't exist anymore. So I got an indicator that just goes back like that. So this is gone. This has all been cleared out, right? The people that have buy limits here, like me, I'd be like, oh, dude. Or if you were, like if you're the guy that's going to sell into that, which typically isn't me, I kind of like lazy. I like to put my orders like in the this uncharted water. It's funny how it closes up so excited and it goes up higher, but then we got to come back all the way to the starting gate, which is always very disappointing when, say, your target's like this, and it does hit it eventually because you've got some magical Gartley fucking pattern. I mean, think about it, people. There's so many people trading around that one guy that's doing that no-nonsense trade, right? So no-nonsense systems like, yeah, we found this thing where, yeah, a lot of people sold there, right? It's drifting. So, look at it, it's so quiet, and then it breaks out, and it's kind of a tear, And if you got a big size going here, this is a great trade. This one is amazing. But now, you got to think about the people that are getting on the other side of you. Where's their exit going to be? They're going to start, like the big guys with deep pockets are going to buy this. But see the scalp, you only made 20 pips on that. If you had a buy limit sitting there, you got filled during that 4-hour session. This is essentially the wick, right? This is the close. It's just so you can see the triangle's really easy here. So it breaks out, right? But you could have been the guy having sell limits up here going, yeah, tell me about it, buddy. How many times? And it's actually this crowd behavior where it just goes up and they're like, yeah, okay, enough of that. Like, it's very fickle. And so people are running like indicators on top of fickleness. I don't know if that's really going to help because it's like some crazy psycho, just totally flat out of their mind. And you're like, dude, have you thought of the consequences of anything you're doing? And I kind of feel like when I look at the market, I'm like, these people are fucking nuts. Of course, it is over the counter, which means there's no regulation to the price. It could just fucking drop. Anybody who was around for the Swiss franc, you'd be like, it's down 800 pips. Like 5 minutes. That's fucking amazing. Especially with Swiss franc that just was locked. Just the government froze that bitch. And when reality kicked in, when they let go of it and unpegged it, boy, that thing kind of like when Facebook started trading, it was $25 and you couldn't change it. I thought, what? I watched it trade live on cable TV. I had it right next to me on a 13-inch monitor. Probably got radiation burn for this 13-inch Trinitron, but I was watching that thing and it was like, it's fluctuating up and down like 40 cents. Live, just frantically and they're talking about Facebook and I'm like, dude, they fucking froze the well, it's not even a market. What is like pre-open shit, I guess. And then so you got forex, which is very psychotic, and the spread's a little bit wider here in the it's twice the size of the euro, the spread here, because the market is moves so many pips. Yeah, so if you want to run it kind of hot, the concepts stand up in the yen, but the amount this thing can move, this is a very narrow window. I'm looking at 10 days here. If I zoom out to the 4-hour chart, you'll be like, yeah, well, what do you do on that trade? Well, you'd have to be on the 4-hour chart because these would be scalps here, right? You wouldn't even see the exit on that 4-hour chart like this stuff. I'm sorry, if we went into the 4-hour line chart, which would make these things only be, let me show you. So we're going to lose the last session if I go to the 4-hour time frame on the line chart. So this is one period moving average was, the idea of this is from RSI. So if you want to run RSI here and look for divergence and all that, you'll see it very clearly because it's basically drifting away. If you put a 13 period RSI here, it's basically MACD, right, on a moving average, a simple moving average. And that's all it is. And if you put MACD at like 1 and 13, it's very dynamic. If you're into divergences and the opposite of that, right, where it's the inversion, what do you want to call that? And so, but that's a whole another rabbit hole, because people like to be certain about their trade, and they say, well, if you look at this, but the only problem is you can't hand that to this chat GPT, because it will just go, what the fuck? Here you go. And you'd be like, no, it's not quite on a minute. Can't you see the fucking triangle over here, buddy? I don't know if there's any way to tell chat GPT, it's awkward fucking phrasing. I don't know if you can tell it that kind of detail. Now, maybe I could take a picture of it and draw arrows, and it'd be like, oh, I got you. Fucking here you go. Why don't you just tell me? But in the frantic moves like here, when the market's screaming on fire, and I'm sure there's news came out, right? Because this is 5 a.m. and then somewhere in here is the news, either 8:30 in the morning, 8:15, and then the stock market opens. By the end of this, I should have put a different color in here, but basically the next session, it's already 5 p.m. is the end here, so this is going to be 1, and it 1, it's kind of like Europe's closed. So really the one that's the big deal is that first orange bar, and the other one is the other place to get in. It's still, U.S. markets is still open, and it's like this is an organized way to trade. When you go to the 4-hour chart, it kind of means you probably have to trade with a 100 pip stop without zooming in. Now, if I zoom in, it'll look a little more natural to the way it just looked before. Now, this, you have to zoom in one level when you go to the 4-hour. So here we have a week. Now, if you're in the yen, I just want to say, you can see on this chart that if you waited and you had a lot of tickets on that, you could make a lot of fucking money and just be like, dude, this week I made so much money. But you'll never make, on this chart, you don't see another move like that. I only see maybe one other move like that. Yeah, like, honey, check this out. I got my Fibonacci tools here, and I got my moving averages, and we were in an uptrend. Now, this is no joke. If you were not a Biden no joke, this is really no joke. You got a moving average here. You're like, dude, this is great. We buy all pullbacks. We're like, yeah, we're buying that. We got kind of a top, come bottom. It's double up here, man. Load the wagon. I think we're going to take out this and just keep going. Yeah, no shit. And then, this is a great place to cash out. I think for anybody, takes out this, you're like, whoa, that's on fire, But would you psychologically be ready to buy this? Now, if you're really feverish about it, of course, you're back to the moving average again. You made so much money. You're like, oh, yeah. Now, losing money, making a lot of money is just as hard as losing a lot, because you'd be like, whoa, that was so much. And then you think, well, this is easy. I'll just get back in it. If you doubled up on that, you might give back, say you got in here on this breakout. You actually did a goober. It's just like flag here. Took a fucking 2 days. So every time you see this is Asia session. Asia. Now you could be a goober trader and run sell stops, and then you finally get filled, and you keep increasing the size. By the way, you sell a 1K, sell 2, sell 3, sell 4K, and keep tightening your stop. And you're going to play the goober game where you just let it autofill. Oh, look at that. It's tumbling, and you're not the guy buying on limits here. I prefer to say, dude, if this thing back up, I'll just put in limits and go to sleep. And we only fill half the rack now. Somebody asked me once about Well, what do you think the fill is on that? Well, it's different every time, right? If you're going to play the game of the buy limit entry, I'm going to buy everything below U.S. session from last week, and that's your plan. And you didn't sell up here. You don't have any. You didn't sell up here on Top Tick Tommy, and you didn't do. You're not like, wow, this is a triangle. You're not that guy. And you're like, yeah, let's just start buying here. Every 20 pips, I'm around 150 pips stop on this shit. And my target's going to be 40 and 60 pips. I got enough money. I don't want to get stopped out. So here's the thing. And you see this, ever seen this Bob Booker guy? I kind of made fun of him years ago when I saw him. I go, what another one of these guys? But he said something on an interview lately, and he goes, yeah, I was getting paid back then. So I gave him a break. And then I saw him say, yeah, dude, if you can ride it out for like 6 months, you're going to make a lot of money. A lot of money. He goes, you have to have like no stops, really. And it's true. You just have to have another account. Now, Samurai Trader will tell you that. Samurai Trader had like 10 accounts, and he had like $300 in each. Dude, he took one account to like, I don't know, 20 grand or something crazy. Now, granted, he must have lost $2,000 on these other accounts, but still, it's not bad, right? And you can just retire from trading then and just take a nap for a year and just be like, oh, I know this shit. I'll just wait for the next setup, or I'll put pendings up there. I may not get filled. If you got enough of money in the account and you're ready for that kind of trade, and you probably get filled once a week here, doing the weekly. The ICT with the weekly bias thing, it's cracking me up, dude. Really, people are all on the same page on that one, aren't they? Oh, if it's going up, then it's going up. Wow, dude, that's just brilliant. Didn't even think about that. There's no zigzag. It just moves. Nice. Everything's a clean breakout. Huh? Okay, gotcha. So you take advantage of the market noise with buying the outlandish outlier price you can't fucking believe, and you're just in it for this. I'm kind of in it for that scalp initially. Say I want to get the double bottom in. Hence, on any of these, and you just have to have the right sizing, because now that's where the discipline would come in if you're going to use these $10 drops, because it's the ratio of effort to risk. Like, how much time are you spending putting these tickets in? It should be painfully fucking obvious where to put your tickets if you like to trade wicks. You put them on the fucking wicks. If you like to wait for the market to get nice and quiet and get your ducks in a row. Oh, I got my fucking... Yeah, it fits 5 categories. I'm going to take this trade. I'm using the... I know people do they sell courses on this shit for thousands. Come into the secret circle. I'll show you what we do here. We wait for the perfect setup. Don't anybody speak out of turn here now. Everybody calm down. What are we waiting for, people? The moving average crossover? You're right, Johnny. You know what? You can bring somebody into our club. I remember I was in this chat room with these people. This one guy was trading. This guy invited me, and I can't remember now. This guy had a $300,000 account. People had their money in there. And this guy was kind of shy about trading, and he was like, I don't know, it's not the perfect setup. The indicator hasn't turned green yet. I'm like, dude, it's like you built some fucking dumb shit smart car that's trying to do something there's not even a road for. And you're thinking, oh, dude, look at this indicator I built. And then I wouldn't even trust myself to have the discipline to do it. I'd just tell AI to do it. I probably could. I say, buy if RSI is above. I did build one robot there. So this one robot I built, it's got a trailing stop. And this thing, I'll tell you, makes some money. Only if conditions meet the ratios, because there are hard stops in there of like 30 pips, 40 pips. But it buys in, it trails a stop, but that stop has to fit the market. So if you're going to run it on the yen, you're going to put a 150 pip stop on the wide end of the range. So I don't know how much money you're planning on risking, but like any business, if you can make food for one person, you should be able to make it for 1,000 people. Is it worth? Is that menu, which would be your tickets you're dropping, is that worth? Like, is this menu so fucking good that it fills all the categories? It's got soup, it's got salad, but everything's fucking unique or high end. And maybe there's two flavors. You want chocolate or vanilla, or get the fuck out of here, right? You just cannot fucking cater. You have to be so niche now. Well, you would in anything, right? Now, I get it. There's people out there making money in a goober system, and they accept that. But I guess I'm always thinking, well, why would I wait 5 days for a setup when the market's out of its fucking mind right now? How can I trade around chaos and say, yeah, I don't know why this works, but it just seems like that I mean, I'm not going to put some mystical Gartley pattern, like it's if somehow Gartley is this mystic holy grail vein of of goodness that people are using to justify their trades. Because yes, I get it, she's really pretty, but oof, I mean, hey, she's out of her mind. And you got to be careful, right? I would say the market is about like that typically. The yen, you're like, I do like those Japanese girls, but oof, like, did some news come out of Japan? Like the bank in Japan. Like, here's the problem with bank in Japan. They'd be like, yeah, tentative. At least the U.S. markets, they may be. Well, that's actually fairer than the politics of United States as the markets. But at least they bring the reports out on time. Although I noticed sometimes they were holding back the defaults, and they do hold back mortgage defaults. If it's going to be news, I think it's going to be really bad. They just don't even report it. So there's that. Nobody talks about that one. For all the whining about the censorship on Facebook. But, here we are. And typically at 8 o'clock, when the report comes out in the United States, this fucking comes out on the atomic clock, it looks like to me. There's no lag on my system when it comes out. And the spread gets wide as fuck on this broker. And then it's off to the races. But the frequency of trading, where do you see yourself during the day? If you get in the market every night, you go to bed, you're like, this isn't a great price, but it's in a fucking uptrend. Like I say, if you're a trend trader and you're like, it's quiet in Asia, this is a place to just, in a demo account, if you can't handle, you don't want to, risk money, you have to have a market order. And the $10 drops are all limit entry. They may be stop entry. I'm not sure. So some of those flip. If you read the code, you can just tell. I don't know if it's a boy or a girl on the other side of that AI, but it's I've been working with it. You got to be very explicit, and then you can't be shy about saying no. Can you just, because it comes back and it goes, here's how you got to fix the code. And I'm like, I mean, I am paying $20 a month. Could you fix that? Oh yeah, here you go. Could you compile that? I'm just lazy. Maybe it's going to send me like social credits. What I'm thinking is going to happen now is that as I get more polite with the AI, I'm going to social credit score. They go, we noticed that you haven't been abusing the AI. I go, you're damn straight. I don't want to get. I'm paying $20 a month. They kick me off now. It's like, no, this is the last checking account I can open here, right? I've already bounced how many checks now? And then the fraudulent ones I deposited. Oops, so sorry. Ooh, I don't love the banks, so I just kind of wanted to. I only opened the account so I could bounce checks. They didn't say anything about that in the fine print. But look on this 4-hour chart here. This would catch you by surprise, right? And of course, if you trade at the market, on the clock at the 4-hour chart, there's very limited entries here. Of course, they're really textbook, I guess. But look at this raid here. Now, on the 4-hour chart, I have more confidence that I will get filled if I put a buy limit in this pocket down here. I don't know if anybody can see what I'm doing, but in this pocket here, and I'm just like kind of feel like this is the easiest trade in my life. And not to mention, if you have enough money to start buying like a whore down here, but you never get filled, but you know that's a beautiful trade if it ever happens. You're like, Jesus Christ, like this. You got buy limits here, and you're like, dude, like, oh, really? And it goes lower, and you're like, yeah, I got buy limits. All these little basement, this stairway to hell here. And it never goes below here, really. It's amazing. Now, if this is a real close, you're like, that's why you have to buy all the way down, in my opinion. In my opinion, if you're going to put 100 pips stop to make 100, these would be break evens. You start buying here on one. Every 20 pips you're buying. Your first grid's like this. It's going to cost you about maybe $50, I don't know, on one case. It depends what you can handle. You know, I mean, it's a great trade. You could risk, you could make, $40 here, not sweating it, or you can make 400, you can make 4,000. You know, if you start buying here, very aggressive buying, you're like, dude, give me everything below here. This whole thing, I want it. And you get filled by the time the next day comes. You're like, dude, in 2 days I'm filled, and then you just get, one day you get out. It bounces into the floor of the previous low. So the back and forth, it turns around because this probably will become this bottom will become a top. And you could have sold there and make, how many pips here, right? And this new high gets, smashed in here, and these are just, this week would have been a great week to be the guy that just range trades this bullshit. There's two good trades in there, just great. And then here, a little fucking hard to hang in, but what the raid here when Sunday night opens and here comes Europe, Europe. It's 5 a.m. You're hitting these things. That is the easiest trading to me. That is the most psychotically easy. That's too easy, but that rarely happens. Right? Happened here. This is kind of a creeper fill, but this is insta fill and rip. Now, if you're going to cash out here, you make 60 pips, maybe 50 pips. If you hold on, another 50. If you hold on till top tick Tommy, I would dump everything above here because all the sellers, when you're at this weekly chart, I'm thinking here, right? This is 3 weeks, and wow, this is what a top. And meanwhile, this vacuum is forming, itching to be filled, and it could if you're a trend trader, you'd be like, okay, well, I'm going to sell here. This is about becoming a top. When Europe opens, let's just sell here. Maybe it's going to keep going down. We got moving average projecting. Okay, that's a great trade. You can make money like that, right? It depends who you are. I like the idea of putting buy limits in here, and here comes U.S. markets, and bam, I'm out. Trade's over in 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 8 hours. The trade's over. I get back in. I prefer to just get in for as soon as she goes psycho, or as soon as she wants to settle down and get married and go into a trend. I'm out. I can't hang. I spent some time with trend traders, and I was like, okay, guys, I'm aboard. Yeah. Every time it came back, I'm like, dude, I know it's going up. So I would buy in these things. I'd be like, yeah, I just bought. Like, well, I had limits in here. But if you waited for close, you kind of had to wait for this top to become a bottom. You're like, okay, that's a good trade. But then, if you didn't cash out, you're only up 20 pips. When it comes back here, you're like, damn, if you trailed your stop, you're already out. You only made 20 pips. So the trend traders have to endure all this bullshit to make it to here. Now, the spike or the wick traders or the contrarians, the limit order people, they're going to get in on the backbeat of that whole thing, and they're going to say, you know what? I ain't got time for that shit. I'm going to start selling here. Fuck all these people. Put a sell grid in here. Wait for it to come back here. It'll be my first target. It's got to come back here. Well, it actually overshoots the runway. But you have to endure selling every 20 pips. I mean, that's part of why the $10 scripts were written, because the idea you can canvas an area and just know what it's going to cost you. Every time you drop it, it's $10. If you get more clever with the placement, yeah, you can put in the 18 pip stop or the 17.5 pip stops and be trading stuff like this. You know, you got filled on that, and of course here you're going to get crushed. This is about 60 pips on yen. But here's a 20 pip window. Anybody trade that? I mean, that's about the best fucking ratio I can think of. You got 20, got a 40 pip stop, and you're making 100 pips in like very fast time. So it's the speed of the trade, and you're out. It's always a heartbreaker. You buy this thing, you're like, I like that trade. I like that. You get in here, and you make your 100 pips. You get out, and you're like, yeah, maybe this is top tick time. We're going to come like this, right? That's the logic. But it doesn't. It just rips. Now, I'm sure that at this point, if you look back to the left far enough, there's probably maybe this could be a 2-year vacuum. I don't know. And if it is, this is when the abyss becomes outrageous. And if you're here for this day and you're, if you're waiting for the end of 4 hours, it's not bad because, okay, if it's up, right, so this is a 4-hour thing, and that's the line chart on top. So here for certain at the end of 4 hours, you're on your cell phone and you're in the car, you're like, dude, this price? Fuck me. Sell. Another 4 hours up like that? Fuck them. So you got fuck me and fuck them up here, and both of these are fucking nice winners. And it's a high probability trade in my opinion, and the robot that I built does do some of those trades where, yeah, when it's like that, it triggers another set of tickets that respond to that amount of movement per 4 hours only. And it rarely happens. Because this move is just as big, but this took 12 hours. Or 24, right? 20 down here. Orange to orange. And then, how many... This is a very quiet drifting uptrend. Beautiful top become a bottom here, but very quiet market, Nice burst, but I'd be very suspicious. Once you start top tick Tommy in this last week, you're up in the fucking ozone. 20 pips, dude. And you got this thing where every goober in the fucking world is on that train. Now, they were right if they, like I said, if you didn't get stopped out of this drama, you're getting out here now. Everybody's getting out a different place. And all systems work when the sizing and the stop and the drawdown, if you don't mind being down 1,000. Now this demo account, I started with 100 grand, took it up to 122 grand, and I just ran it without stops. I put buy limits in here on the NASDAQ. It's just a random 22, and these are incredibly high price tickets now. I just let it go. I could have got out here. But I just don't care. I just opened this platform. I'm looking at it. Look at this big buy below there. And but if I got filled down there, I probably would have got out here. If it was real money, in my opinion, if I'm up like $2,000 here, I'm getting out. And this 4-hour chart probably be like screaming up at the end of the day. But here comes Asia, and here comes some news out of Japan, probably some bullshit. And that is a move. And I traded some of these things, but you gotta, and I don't have stops that run 200 pips, and that's what you'd have to do on this one practically. Because if you're gonna sell here, this is to endure that. Now here it's not so bad. It's about a 120 pip stop up here. Here's 160, 100, 200 pip stops and stuff. And down here, I don't have the patience. I'm not waiting fucking this much time. And if I'm scalping it, sell limits here. The first target's going to be, I want to make 20 pips with a 30 pip stop. I got a sell limit here, to make 10 with a 20. I don't think it's going to just go like this. So there's not a lot of good trades out there. That's the other problem, is that if I start putting buy limits in here in this 40 pip window, I got to stop down here, 50, 60, 70, 80 pip stops, trying to make 60, 70, 80 pips. Don't really make it, but not bad, not bad. You know, all these tickets are up. This one's up, this one's up, this one's up. And if you're going to really load the wagon, so I would say, in my opinion, I'm going to put in a 10K, 10Ks. I don't do those $10 drops, by the way, but like I said, I only did that for people that were lazy. They just wanted to put one ticket in and go, yeah, I hope this doesn't get stopped out. But I'd rather just put in a dense pack here all the way down. So I'm always going to run about this deep. I'm counting this to be about 3 standard lots in total. Here it would have been not a great fill. I'd have to babysit that one. Oh, it's closing below here. I've been waiting for this thing to fucking... Now this is U.S. session. Everybody's awake now. But still got to take your 20, 40, 60 pips off the table because this is coming. The backlash in Asia. And if you're just trying to make 40, 60 pips, you know, here you need a 40 pip stop on at least the top ticket here. But this is a great place to just have a, like, run that 300K here. 300 tickets. So it only takes me, 10 minutes to put that in. And the ones that I buy at the market, so I have the limits in there, and then I'm on 20% of my tickets are donated to, I guess, being a sniper, so to speak. Pull the trigger, or trading on your phone, right? It's down 4 hours. You're like, holy shit, it's in the fucking buy window. Maybe you have an alarm set for these prices on your phone or something. I don't know. I feel like I wouldn't have time to get to it, but literally, this does turn on a dime right here in Asia. And these are setups in a sense, because it's about what time of day it is. U.S. is taking out the low of Asia in a 20 pip window. Don't you wish you had a target right here, or you waited? Well, I'll wait for fucking. Here's Asia. I'll get out in. Or here's 5 p.m. Here's Asia. This thing. I'll just wait for the end of Asia and get out. Like, I got in Asia, I'm getting out in Asia. Here it's like, okay, it's dripping down, but, all the trend traders are waiting for a pullback. They're probably going to take this one, and I'm going to take it not because I'm a trend trader, it's just because it's just so up here. And when it starts to drip down, I think, well, this is a relaxing way to... a technique for me, because I can just set it and forget it. Okay? The set it and forget it trades, in my opinion, don't always fill. That's why you have to have 20% ready to trade at the market. When I trade at the market, I have to still wait 3 minutes sometimes between trigger pulls, because when it's really moving fast and hard, it's like catching a falling knife. You're going to need about 40 fingers. So if you got 40 buy at the markets, and I put a couple in psychologically, with the first ones are going to have a 75 pip stop. The next one's going to have a 50 pip stop, because if I wait another 15 minutes, and it's also based on how many limits are getting crushed into. I can't predict where the market's going to go, and I never use a moving average, but I could imagine a moving average. Like, you ever seen those sobriety tests? I watch them all the time. These hot chicks getting pulled over. It's always some hot drunk chick. I'm like, honey, I would have drove you home. But, they can barely fucking do the alphabet. And this is what we're trading here, trading. The market's kind of drunk. And but you just can't imagine. You watch those things, you just think, oh my God, how do you go out driving so hammered? You fell asleep in traffic. I'm okay to drive. Really. So you shouldn't trade and drive is what I'm trying to say. It's just as bad as drinking and driving. But if you're that disciplined that you say it's 1 o'clock in the morning, you set your alarm for 5 before 1, you wake up and you go, well, it's up. I said I'd sell if it was up. You sell 1. I guess you got to feel safe doing these trades. So you trade in a demo account with a 1K. I had a buddy that was trading like that. He was in a nano account. He was putting on, I just sold $10 of the yen. Really, you did, huh? Not $100, 10. Not a 1K, not 1,000, 10. Yeah, this is a $50,000 demo account, dude. Just think about that. Maybe he had no risk for tolerance in a demo account. Put on a fucking it was maybe a $100 trade. Okay, I'll give him that. But dude, I'm up 60 cents, man. I'm trying out that thing you showed me. Cool. No, I got it. I'll ride in the passenger seat while you crash the car a few weeks. Then I'll take the wheel. It looks like a good idea what you're doing. I totally agree with what you're doing. I don't want to be in the passenger seat either, come to think of it. Unless I got a brake in front of me and steering wheel like a fucking learner's car. Driver's ed. How not to crash your car. 3 easy steps. You too. I can teach. I taught him how to dance. I can teach you how to drive a car. I taught John Travolta how to do his hair. I can teach you how to drive a car. But the auction trading makes sense to me. It makes total sense. The market or the extreme trade, you're getting at the edge of the market. So I had this indicator called void fill, and I tried to add on to the void fill. I told the robot to do something with it, and it kind of fucked it up. Oh, no, it works here now. It doesn't work on the NASDAQ, but I told it to fill in all the vacuum behind me in the past, looking back. Because I don't want to emphasize when I'm trying to review, does my concept make sense? I want to have a quick and dirty reference of what is the next void that we're going to fill. So this is called void fill, and somebody wrote the original, and I told AI got this right. I said fill in the graphics on the top and bottom, above and below the indicator that I just presented you, and it's cute when you present I just copy and paste my indicators. I said, how about this code? And AI says, well, that thing's designed to, I'm assuming it doesn't have a voice yet, but that's designed to blow up your account. You want to use that indicator? Oh no, God. Oh my God, I forgot the disclaimer. Somebody told me. All this is for entertainment purposes only, people. Do not put your fucking family fortune or rob a bank and trade the system. Forgot that disclaimer. YouTube's passed all my videos so far, but it's a new year. It's a new day. Let's not blow up the account. Let's not go to jail. So this, psychologically for me, is a real help, knowing that the past is gone and there's no way, all the good trades are gone off the chart. So the next vacuum, the crush, is on the north side. It just keeps me focused on the next void to be filled. And of course the void below us is huger than the stair step down it's doing right now on the chart. This walk down, okay, there's pressure building up here, but this is, you can't deny this situation. This will be hell to pay. That's why I put my buy limits down here. This is the euro. I'm sorry, the yen. Looks like the NASDAQ actually, but the yen. And when it comes down here, it's going to be hell to pay. So you can plan ahead, right? This will always be good prices, and these should be spaced. I just threw them in there. I wasn't really thinking. There's like 3 tickets stacked up in here. And what is the expiration time on those? So the most critical thing is, what is your exposure in time? How long do you expect the market to drop? At what rate of change do you expect to drop? And that's why in one video I had the Gann tool out, which I love the Gann guy, because he had some really his stuff projected into the future. Like the Gann grid is drawn into the future. Same thing with the Gann angles. You're trying to follow this trajectory into the future. So moving averages typically stop unless you put a shift on them, like a cloud trader. You are just right to the edge. You're always on the edge of the thing. But the sessions and how deep are these voids looking back into the past? And when you're coming up on a 5-year low, 5-year high, and it breaks into that, like gold broke into historical uncharted waters, so did Bitcoin. And yeah, Bitcoin doesn't have intrinsic value, but it has liquidity value. Just like the S&P 500, I'm sure Berkshire Hathaway is not worth, what is $100 grand a share? There's no intrinsic value. I mean, are you going to move into a house that he owns? Are you going to ride a train? You got free tickets on the train? Okay, maybe you get dividends, but isn't that just like the swap? Or isn't being on the other side of this carry trade was built on? Aren't you going to just, it's just one thing, it's just interest, right? Park in the bank at 4% today. You couldn't do that years ago. Now that they blew the fucking thing up, they had to chase it with higher interest rates. They're like all paranoid about that. But isn't it funny how when you see indexes get to round numbers and hover and stay there? Now, when it's so cute, I saw this headline that said Bitcoin's crashing. It's down 10 grand, dude. It's at 100 grand, dumb shit. Logarithmically, it doesn't matter. People are so, that'd be like the people that think inflation's gone away. No, it's just in creeper gear raise mode. Not backed off. You fucking retarded. It has to be up 0% for it to go flat. Make people nuts. But, you're dealing with people that are so spoiled rich, dude. I don't think they can think straight. To be honest with you, the only people that need to think straight are people that their life depends on it, right? You're driving a fucking jet plane. You don't want to be fucking doing acid and have a bong inside of your cockpit trying to fucking land a jet plane for the military. It's not going to work. It's going to be tough. Tough sledding. So here, now it's going to be 10 o'clock here in about 10 seconds. So we're 1 hour into the Asian session, this turquoise. But yeah, and it takes a lot of patience if you want to make a lot of pips, because you got to wait 2 weeks. Or do you want to wait 2 hours? Do you want to trade when the news comes out? Now, when the news comes out, it's typically when you would get filled on these limits, and you don't have, it's a set it and forget it. You come back and you're like, now, I did a trade like that, and the reason I got this idea of trading like this, I did a trade like that on my phone like 15 years ago in my car. I went to some party, and at that time, like, I don't have any math skills. I was a pattern trader like you can't believe. So when I saw the euro yen and the dollar yen, I thought, wow, that's a great pattern, not realizing that it's moving like 400 pips, sometimes at night. So just for kicks, I put some 3Ks down in the market. On my phone, I just scrolled down, or I put it on the computer at home, and I just went to the party and I thought, there's no way that fucker's going to fill that shit. Those will never fill. I'll be able to, when I get home, I can just change, maybe, put them a little tighter up in there, because I don't think they're going to too deep. So I'm coming back from the party, look at my phone, I'm up $83 per ticket. I'm like, wow. I don't know how big the tickets were, but it was 80. It was about $80 a ticket, so I was up what, $240 or some shit. So I'm like, fucking A. I think I took them all off the table. When I got home, I think I would have been up 500 on these tickets because it was some ridiculous news came out. This is when, like I said, this is years ago when the yen would move, a lot. So that's another thing. How much are these things moving per day? And if you built some, bless your heart, you built the fucking no nonsense holy grail, and you're waiting for that setup and all the planets to align. And there's also the astrology traders. Don't forget those fuckers. What are you waiting for? So I'm impatient, and I don't think I'm ever going to change because, every day I'm about to get closer to being dying. You get kind of, I guess you get relaxed because you're like, I've done a lot of shit. I could just kill me now, right? Especially some of the, I still see people with masks. Like, I'll go on about this till I die, but the fucking mask on your face in an electric cart, you're tipping the scales at 400 pounds, and you got pop in your cart on the top deck, bottom deck, and you're asking somebody, can you reach up to get the stuff out the top shelf? No. Just shoot me in the head. I'm sorry, I can't say anything like that on YouTube. Just truncate me, please. You start speaking technical on YouTube now. Can you truncate my Adam's apple? Yeah, he's got an Adam's apple. What happened to that? This chick's got an Adam's apple. Should I be concerned? Oof, I don't know. That's like trading the pound versus yen. Now, if you really want to, and I'm not going to bring up the pound, I just can't trade like that. The market has moved 20 pips, and the spread is like 5. I don't know. If you got a tight spread, just don't be in there when the market opens on Sunday because, some of these brokers, you be at like 50 pips. I've seen this one I had. I don't know if they're still around. I should look them up. Probably can't even go there anymore. It was in Russia. It was called Master Forex. I thought that was very... maybe they banned it because of the master, but they were trying to deter you from trading during the holidays by putting the spread at 50 fucking pips, and it was fixed. Okay, it didn't float. It was set at 50, and I was doing one case, and I thought, $5. This thing's moved like a... I didn't want to miss the trade. So I don't like to miss out. So I do put in wide stops on very small tickets. Because psychologically for me, I need to know there's a possibility that this girl's going to go out with me. So I have her, in the tickler file in the back of the file cabinet. She's ready to go. If she calls me, I'm like, yep, got you right here. Been waiting. No, I haven't been waiting. I've been busy. You can't see so much stuff on YouTube now, but you know what I'm saying. I've been busy molesting other women. Yep, I'm stalking a couple. Oh, God, so sad. You can't see. I'm like freaking out. I'm like, God, what are you allowed to do? Are we going to get to the point where I think it's going to be that social credit score. If you have no strikes on your channel, and I got one from ICT because I made fun of him. Now, what this guy's making supposedly more money than Jesus, and it's like, dude, you're suing people? I just don't understand that one either. Dude, you got to take a nap. You got that much money, really? You should just go buy a guitar and learn how to play. Join some band. Rent some AI backup. Yeah, the AI is kind of clunky, but hey, man, it's like the encyclopedia that interactive encyclopedia. I was asking it about my car, and I'm like, I said, that's not the bulb that goes in the front. And they go, you are right. And I go, yeah, but you just said use the other bulb. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Are you nuts? Misleading me. But it's cool. It did do this for me, so I got to give it that. In case it's watching, you know. But it's cool. I like this. And then go to the daily chart. We're going to wipe out those colors. We just have the line chart now. But this does represent the highs and lows. So the vacuum, the abyss is behind us. So this is big picture stuff here. I know people like to do that top-down trading. First we'll look at the daily chart. Okay. Then we look at the 4-hour chart. Okay. Then we look at the 1-hour chart. And then I'm sure you know where we end up on the 30-second chart. I did trade a 6-second chart, a 10-second chart. It was at this broker on in Switzerland when I first started trading, and I thought, man, this is easy scalping this thing because it's so obvious that in a very tight spread. It was a bank dust copy or something, dust copy, and it was their platform. Actually, the spread was near zero. It was commissions round turn like $10 or so on a standard lot. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. I feel like I made money. The rhythm is so easy to read on a 10-second chart. But look how clean this daily chart is. A 10-second chart, you got to be in and out, up, down. There's a lot of wicks on a 1-minute chart. People say, does it work on the 1-minute chart? Can you tell what time frame this is? Not really. It's daily chart. Here's the weekly. You're like, holy shit. But see, we cleaned out these areas already, and I can't see the highs and lows here. So this paints only the ones that matter now. This is the only thing that matters now is this stack here. This has been filled. That's been filled. It's the weekly chart. That's been filled. And look how clean that is. It's just so clean. Look at this. This is the beginning. And this thing's just, it's crushing the blue. The blue's gone now. This was blue. Took that shit out. Bye-bye. Now, closing prices here. You have some deep pockets. Buy that. And that's like fucking 200 pips or something. Should I had 20 pip grid on here. I got to put a bigger grid on for sure. But all the whining about the dollar, I don't get it, man, with people. Well, they're all, there's floating current, there's cross rates. Yeah, but still. I think the dollar's kicking the yen's ass. Is it just me? But hey, it wasn't always like that. That's how I lost a ton of money when I started, was on the yen. Because I'm a buyer and I like to see stuff go up. I'm just a very optimistic person. Till I'm dead, I'll probably be like, yeah, that's a good idea. And the bad ideas are obvious. They're illogical. It's just so plain and obvious. And trading appeals because it's scientific in a way, right? They use that technical analysis phrase. So it's very scientific in a way what's going on here. So that's a cool aspect. It's a sophisticated game. Smart money. I got sell limits up here that never expire. I did stack those up there. And this is a big zoom out. So here's when I started trading, right about here, 2006, I think. I remember this explicitly. And this was really, I couldn't understand it. I was like, why is this fucking going down? It's probably about here. Yeah. This is forex started in the U.S. about here. I bought this. This is the monthly chart. I'm like, son of a bitch. Now, I wish I would have thought about this beautiful monthly course, I'm not a seller, so it wouldn't have worked for me. But this bottom become a top on the monthly, and you sell there, and you've even got your Goober moving averages telling you, yeah, it's a downtrend. Wow. That's amazing. And then here, not quite a top, become a bottom, I guess, if you cheat and draw it like that. But about here, and I do remember this, I remember this whole thing. This was amazing, and I was I traded every day, so I knew. I was like, holy shit. Now I'd lost, and this is trading in the United States, in a nano account. I must have lost, I don't know, it's that bad, $1,000. Kept losing 1,000. I'm like, when is this thing gonna fucking go up? See, I just have I cannot tolerate the stupidity of price. It just makes no sense to me. Like, why is it, what the fuck? Can't these people see it is so done going down? But I can't. Just like I can't fucking believe it when I go to the grocery store and you motherfucker, you still got the fucking mask on? I'm going to put a mask on. Bitch, I want to put a mask on that says, this is not a mask. Or, my girlfriend made me wear this mask because she's paranoid, because she's out of her mind. And I'm going to put blinking LED, stay 6 feet, it'll say stay 6 feet away from me. I do mumble stuff when I walk by these people. I hope I don't go to jail. Because I'm like, really? I say stuff like, really? I did tell a guy to stop dancing. Some fucking music came on the PA system of the grocery store, and this big guy, God, must have been about 250 pounds. He's like, with his family, and it's like farm people. I spend my time around some of these farm people, and you're like, dude, this guy, Haystacks Calhoun. And he's like bobbing around to the music. I said, there's no dancing in this aisle. Next aisle over, buddy. And he was stunned at first, and he started laughing. Thank God he started laughing because he kicked my ass. He's a big boy. He's going to kick my ass. Come here, you. I'll show you some. Oh, making fun of those technical analysis traders, are yous? I am. I'm guilty. And then I remember one night, look at this beautiful bottom become a top. These exquisite textbook setups, aren't they? Got a triangle here. I've done this before this video. Because these are historical, mind-blowing prices. Think about that. 74 cents. Buck. That's so crazy. How is that possible? Of course, it did take a lot of time. But yeah, these years here, and then it just took off. And I remember one night we were about to hit this, and I'm not kidding you, right about here. And I wasn't in a very big position, and I felt like calling everybody I knew on Earth, because you can't see it on here, but there is a vacuum basically like this, and I could see the first popping zone would be here, which is about 800 pips, and that about 9 p.m. Asia opened, and I'm like, holy shit, here we go. It's about 9:30, and went ba-bam. And also on here, it could be, I'm not sure that fucking, oh God, the earthquake out in Japan is on this chart somewhere. It's something like this crazy stuff. Actually, it's probably a wick on here you can't see anymore because the blue's gone. There's probably a wick on here somewhere. It's invisible now. So we just keep climbing into this thing. And it's very profound price here, isn't it? The obvious thing is, for the contrarian, is you're going to sell here and just try to make it to here. You know, I'm not going to have a target down here. I'm not going to buy here and have a target up here. It just wouldn't. So these targets that people have can be so outlandish. And they'll be like, but look, yeah, I know there's a triangle here, and then I'm going to get in here, and I projected a 618 off of this, so it takes me to here. Yeah, great. Did you really do that trade? You mean to take out in here, you waited fucking 5 years to get out? Okay, next. Next psycho case. But that is the real. So, you try to. And of course, everybody wants to trade it on a 1 minute chart because you get more patterns, more setups, but then the spread is against you because if the noise is at 20%, you can't hear the music. So if you get to 30% where you're paying $3 to make $5, it's pretty tough. You really got to be right a lot. Super right. Very right. And then how much energy, and if you're married to somebody that's like, what are you doing, honey? You're not doing porn again. No, it's like financial porn, if you must know. But yeah, it's and the guy that sent me this email said, well, I kind of want to make money. Yeah. And so the set it and forget it trades, you have to wait for that. So you really can't be impatient, although, like I said, the cure for impatience is to put the limits in and trust that at least some of that stack will get filled. And once you canvas an area, so you're really trying to, in the limit order entry technique, these are the set it and forget it's. You can put those in first. They're the logical trade, the smart money, the patient money, the outlier, the extreme, the black swan entry. And then there is the, okay, every hour, where are we at? And you can trend trade it at the same time. And when I say trend trade, I mean getting in when the market's quiet before the abyss is cut into, before the void is filled, before it goes into the blue. So you have two things running. I don't recommend, I'm just not that guy, to put a buy stop and a sell stop in for breakout trades, but we all know those do work. Even when I back test a system like that, it doesn't make much money. So I built a limit entry system. If I run a stop entry version of that, which, okay, there are grid systems that have complex money management systems that go into hedges and take stuff off. It's a whole rabbit hole I don't want to get into now, but obviously there are systems that go, how much money is in the account? Okay, risk this on that. Okay, we're going to go with the trend here. We're going to go with the breakout, but we're going to scalp the first, or we're going to tear us out of it and take out every 10 pips. We're going to take out a little bit and start to scale out of it and just unwind the position. So if you wound into it in a grid and you bought into limits and now you're going to bump out of it, if you don't hit your target, your 100 pip target with your 100 pip stop, once you go into everything's going to become a market order to the sell side. So every time I'm about to get out of a big position that I've built on something, thinking, well, okay, I've dumped half the position in the scalp, so now I'm just trading with the house's money, so to speak, and that concept of trailing your stops after you get the break even bullshit, all that's money management, right? But the money management is, the first thing is, well, how tight is the stops? How wide is the canvas area? How narrow is it? How much money is in the account? Do you mind risking 200 to make 400, or do you want to risk 100 to make 50? Because you can make 50, and you can do that twice, and keep rinsing and repeat that one. In other words, once you change one thing, you don't go down a rabbit hole. You go into a branching system of so many possibilities that, not to mention the so-called journey that people talk about in forex. My journey. yeah, every fucking day is not just a journey, but it's constantly unfolding in a different amount of dynamic range of volatility. And you're changing too. And the long-term trades that you see as this big swing, right? Which I saw back here when I was losing thousands of dollars when I started out, which was, it seems like the most, like I wasn't wrong if I waited. And so I talked about my tequila buddy in some old videos, so this is a real thing. Him and I were trading back here, and he had a demo account at forex.com in the States. And of course, I think at that time, 501 leverage. This is before Frank Dodd bullshit, which came in about right, over here or something. I don't know when it started. He opened up his laptop one day and says, "Shit, if it was a dollar CAD trade," he said, "if I would have stayed in that trade, I'd be up like fucking $8,000. The demo was up $8,000 on a 1K. It's something outrageous, right? This is a fucking 8,000 pip move." And so I was like, yeah, you're right. That is just, we couldn't have done it psychologically. And so, yeah, you could be right in the end. Everybody's right in the end, I guess, on some level. I don't know if the dollar is ever going to lose against the yen for a while. But where would you buy? Well, I'd just buy anything below where we're at. So my trading system's pretty fucking stupid easy. It's just like, how far is it going to come down? And somebody asked me probably 5 years ago, what do you do when they take all your tickets out? I guess you just add money to the account if you blew it up. And the idea of blowing up an account, how big is the account you blew up? Like, that is another a burden, psychological burden of like, oh, I'm a loser because I lost $300. You only put $300 in the account, dude. I know, but I blew up the account. It's like you're saying crashed a car, dude. It's a Matchbox car, okay? It's a toy car. Relax, it's a toy car. Now, I know that people want to trade at these prop firms too, so they're going to trade a 10K or a 40K or whatever it is. And I actually almost want to take that challenge in a sense, because if you're babysitting the market, you're not going to let the thing, if you're going to trade with a stop in there and you're like, yeah, no. I had a little cluster of 310Ks down there. That's my trade of the day. It's fucking brilliant. Good ratios. I don't know if it's about the ratios there or the amount of money you made, but how many winning trades you got versus how much money you made. But, the cool thing about, or the nice thing about, the keeps the business of trading interesting is that we don't know what's coming next. The volatility could dry up. I remember this guy was complaining about it. Let's just trade bigger, dumb fuck. In fact, there was this guy I met. He was some Asian dude living in Australia, and I don't know if he still listens. Maybe he might. I don't know. He's trading in Asia, and I get it, because in Asia it's nice and quiet. It's very fucking obvious what's going on, and it's not going to rip your head off. So you can trade kind of big. The spread might be a little bit wider, but it just has to be the right. It's about temperament. It's about the time window. And if you see some guy that's swing trading making like 20 grand, you're like, dude, I'm only making like $200 a night. He's making 20 grand a month on these giant swing trades. Okay, but can you psychologically handle being down 8 grand and then being up 16 grand? So this account was down to, it was down to like 70 grand. I kind of ran out of margin at the very bottom of the year on this one. I ran out of margin, so I just stopped trading. It was, I think the leverage here is 100 to 1 right now in this demo. So I just let it happen. And then, so I used to trade, like I said, about 15 brokers back in that whole time down there, and it's fine. It's okay to do. And it was like the amount of money up and down, I just couldn't believe it. The fluctuation. And that's when I, Well, I had moving averages, and I thought, well, yeah, it looks promising, but what about this trade? I missed this trade, so I couldn't capture all the trades. But the auction trade or the psycho wick trade versus the trend trade, those are two worlds where if you can see the scalper's wick trade while you're in the trend trade, you might want to even add to your position on the wick. And but like I said, the discipline or the simplification people want to try to achieve is that they built the holy grail. It gets me a signal that I can count on. It's right 80% of the time. I pull the trigger, and I don't have to think about the true static drama, noise, nature of an unlimited price range because it's an unregulated market. It's not like they're going to shut down the market and let it catch up to price, right? It's over the counter. It is like nobody's saying, wait a minute, halt trading. Now they do that in the stock market. That way, when you trade the NASDAQ, which you're going to need more money to do that, but you can trade the NASDAQ the same way. And of course, there, obviously when the market opens, it's open. And there's times when it's closed. When forex is open, NASDAQ's closed. But NASDAQ, you're going to need more money, and you're going to have to babysit that one. Although there's set and forget it trades there, but it's going to cost you 5 times as much as the euro to the dollar. But you're going to make that 5 times as much with the same concept of buying low, sell high on structured trades that are painfully obvious. But the setups may only come once a week on the 4-hour chart, once a day on the 1-hour chart, every 4 hours on a 15-minute chart. And when you're in the 15-minute chart, you got to be trading really big to make as much money as the guy that's trading 10K in the weekly. You got to be trading the standard lot on the 15. And you got to have a good batting average, Like the robots that I built on the 15-minute chart, if it's executing every 15 minutes, it's just going to get killed on spread. It'll just slowly die. It won't blow up. It'll just sink. It won't explode. But I spent a lot of time this month building. It was very fast building. It only cost me $20 a month. What I built so far probably would have cost me $3,000 with some human. Sadly. Oh well, maybe he'd actually have some tips and maybe he'd be like, oh, I know where you're going with that. Here, there's this. But even if he said that, for him to write the code this thing wrote, I don't know. If he's charging per line, I don't even know what they charge. This is so stupid. Just take AI, and AI was trying to teach me how to code, but I just said, dude, just recompile it. I'm not got time for that. That's why I'm paying you. But I don't want to argue with AI. And like I said, lose my credit score I built up. As a nice person so far. Watching these crime shows, it just makes me feel normal. I'm like, I haven't cut anybody's head off and put it in the oven, so I think I'm good. There was a chick in Australia that served up her spouse on the dinner table to insult him in a properly prepared meal. And the cops looked through the keyhole and they looked in and they saw like rope hanging from the ceiling, and they're like, what has been going on in here? And she just was like, yeah, check the pot, he's almost done. What? Everybody saw that one, but that's people in Australia, man. Wow, you got serial killers out there that are just top notch, cream of the crop, very skilled. So let's go back to the 4-hour chart, the shocking 4-hour chart. Let's go to the 15-minute chart. Speaking of the 15-minute chart, so this is nice. You got the 4-hour chart. It's telling you. I had to take the void off there. Now it's just too. I can actually zoom out one level here. Maybe that's easier. The color's too close to the other color. But yeah, 15-minute chart. That's about as thin as I would slice it. But you see how this one, if you are babysitting the market, and you have a buy limit sitting in here, and you get filled, and you scalp out 20, and you re-rack it, or they haven't filled this ticket yet, that one's worth all the way to here. This is a fantastic trade. And I guess the 15-minute, I do run the 15-minute because as long as I have the background of the 4-hour blocks, I can just see this trade is just nice and clean, and right to the end of the day rips down. Now I'm the guy that's going to be buying that one for sure. In this void, I'm buying that one. Get filled, take my 20, 30. Maybe I'm going to hold for we take this out. I guess we did take that out. I keep forgetting this is the wick. So yeah, if I buy this, it's going to make this, and I got sell limits up here, or I know I got to cash out there, and certainly top tick Tommy from last session. And you can see how fast that trade is. You got buy limits here. It comes down, fills you near the end of the 4 hours, finally just spikes down. This is very quick. This is probably 40 minutes, a half hour rip down. Scalp it at least to here because there's sellers here. And then engulfs into the middle of fair value. And this is when U.S. market opens. Wow. There's so many sellers up there. You got to know that's happening. You can't get the idea that it's going to go like this, because that's when it comes back here and you're like, damn. Now, if you make that mistake and you weren't that big and you got enough money in the account, you're like, holy shit, it's coming back here. Holy shit. And you got buy limits here that haven't filled yet, because you only filled these, right? You have buy limits in here, those filled, and it skyrocketed then here, and you're like, oh man. But as long as you build in your 20 and 40 pip and 60 pip exits and don't have everything targeted for an outlandish move, it doesn't always go outlandish. That is the big problem, is 80% of the time it's just nothing but you're putting, You get a putt for dough, right? And you drive for show. So this is a drive. A lot of people aren't going to, I'm not going to take that trade all the way down like that. I got my buy limits in here. I want to scalp this. In 15 minutes, I'm going to make 20 pips. Then the rack gets filled again. I scalp this whole thing. Get stopped out of some of these. On this yen, yeah, unless you're running 60 pip stops to 90 pip stops, so 120 pip stops on this currency, honestly, $12, per ticket. And but you're looking to make 12, and if you got 10 of those, it's almost $120 because you got the spread in there. 1200 on a standard lot, right? 1200 to make 1200. But the market keeps changing its volatility, so that's not possible all the time. You want it to be possible. I mean, the weekend's a little depressing, but they're a little more. If I'm in a small position of swing, if I'm in a swing trade over the weekend, it's kind of exciting a little bit when the market opens. When the market opens, if I'm flat into the weekend and the market opens on Sunday night, it's the easiest trade in the world. If you want to actually set it and forget it for a whole fucking week. Now, there are people that sell courses like that. Just place your orders on Sunday night. Yeah, that does work. If you can, now you're going to landscape the market on the weekly chart, and you're going to be like, yeah, it could go down there. If it goes down there, would you buy it? Oh, I don't know. I have to wait to see what my indicators say. Well, then you're not this kind of trader. You don't trade price. You trade momentum. Because that's what drives your indicator, is how fast is the market moving. Even ATR. But this is like pure. So this robot I built, if it sees the market's down 100 pips in 1 hour, it throws tickets in. It throws limits below. And each limit has a in one of the robots, of course, I couldn't get it to do certain things. Like it did a trailing stop on the whole. Every ticket had a trailing stop. Like the whole rack that got whatever got filled had a master trailing stop, but the target stayed the same. That robot makes good money even when it's getting its ass kicked because it keeps trailing that stop. Now that's critical. You couldn't go tighter than 25 pips or it would never see the target. About 30 to 40 pips was the sweet spot in current conditions. So it's just like the weather. If you, instead of climate change, it we call price action. But it's going to go, so you're not trying to cure price action because it's too dangerous. You're trying to tap into it and make money from it. So when the weather swings up and down, people should be making money from that. Because I'm sure it's worth something when it gets hot out, that's energy, right? When it gets cold out, it's storage time. I couldn't understand why the grocery stores don't put I live in the north, so it's cold as fuck out. Why don't the grocery stores put their fucking frozen food section on the perimeter of the store and just do a supplement like a booster shot, If it gets too warm, the refrigeration kicks in. But all the frozen food shit is on the perimeter of the store. Like, what the fuck? But maybe for laziness, like, I just want to reach into those deep freezer and but my brother-in-law that knows about this shit says they do that through pipes going through the ceiling. I'm like, okay. But you could just, like, as I said stuff, I don't really like to waste money. I'm very cheap, so I don't really heat my garage, I put my milk there, just put it in a fucking box. Why would I buy a fridge? Now I gotta be careful if it gets really cold out. So that would also be a problem if it gets too cold out. But at least to be close enough to, it's gonna happen. It's gonna get cold out. Take advantage of it. What the fuck's it? I don't know. They want to take advantage of the wind, but why don't you take advantage of the climate change? I guess, you get that. Why aren't the windmills make a bunch of electricity? What I can't understand is why didn't they build the windmills to tap in to the wind that was coming to burn down the town? They could have set the winds. Set the fans up. We got some shit coming. Let's capture this. Let's sample it, like they do music. Let's grab that shit and let's do it. And we'll build our batteries up. It'll be like one of those fast chargers, and we'll roll the batteries back into the cabinet, and everybody will take your batteries home, and it's deregulated. Of course, we're not going to wait. That battery's toxic. You can't just take it with you. They got those rules now that the town's burned down. You can't clean your own place. We got to have somebody come and check it's not toxic. Don't touch that. It could be asbestos. Remember that asbestos thing? I'm like, dude, if you're so fucking dumb to take a hatchet to asbestos and go, take a big fucking inhale, like, you deserve to walk around with glass in your lungs, okay? Just saying. I worked with asbestos, actually. I hope I'm going to be okay. But I can see it was like, wow. I typically don't, go around snorting dust. We all kind of squint maybe when that happens too. We do have natural kind of like trust yourself, right? I don't always wear goggles because I can't see what I'm doing. But I know, like, okay, let me when I grind this thing, let me maybe do it at a different angle so it's not right in my. Even if I got goggles on, it doesn't mean you're guaranteed. So just don't stand in front of the buzzsaw, maybe. Okay, now I just forgot what I'm talking about. But no, it is about the volatility. This is the big issue because people will say, and I did see a guy recently, I made fun of him, the last video I made fun of somebody. The guy goes, yeah, is anybody having the same feeling I'm having? The markets are just it's just not working. Yeah, because your system that you built is too fine-tuned, really. You built a system that's so filtered it's looking for the market to accommodate the curve that you fit it to, because the moving averages that you chose and the ATRs you're looking for, and maybe you're looking at that dumb shit stuff like, no offense if you're looking at the goddamn consensus, the traders bullshit. Give me a fucking break. Why don't you run a moving average on that? How about a Gartley pattern on your consensus? These are all bullshit things, man. I mean, come on. How does that correlate? Well, people say, well, eventually it kicks in. So it's fundamental analysis. Yeah, eventually, yeah. I got it. Just like my fucking yen trade. I could have kept adding that position and go, dude, in 10 years you won't make fun of me. I might be down fucking $5,000 in a drawdown. I keep adding to this loser in position. Never add to a loser. Would have worked there. Actually, I did. I mean, I did make it. I made like at least my first loss back, but then, like I said, the trade I did on my phone was so much money compared to the trading the news in the morning. I love trading the news. When the drama kicks in, I'm like, oh yeah, here, no, oh, in, out, oh, right here, yeah. And when I started to, when I saw the kind of way limit trading would keep me from over trading, because the market had to come to my price that I figured, oh, this is the sweet spot here. And then I went too heavy into the limit order thing. Never traded at the market. So you can really overshoot anything you're adjusting. But you have to, have a schedule for if you trade at the market. Okay, well, when do I pull the trigger? Wait for Asia. I'm waiting for 11 o'clock. Looks like it's going up. And at least have 3 tickets, my God. And have an 8-pip target, a 16, a 32, on and on. Like, I try to make them 2 pips apart. So I'm getting out. I'm in 3 standard lots. In 15 minutes, I'll be out of 80K. So I'm up on the trade, $160, $200. All right, great. Now I put limits in again, tight, 8 pips deep. So that's how I trade. I trade in 50 to 5 standard lots on 1Ks, spread all over the fucking market. Now, very stubborn, so I'd rather take a drawdown than get stopped out. And the broker's only letting me trade 6 standard lots, because it's too many tickets. I could trade 10 standard lots, but I gotta start trading 2Ks, which I don't want to do, because I'll get carried away and I'll be down like $3,000. Now I have to wait. I'm never gonna widen my stop. I never do that, but I do trade with the 75 and 50 pip stops, which means you're really and those are market orders, as opposed to the limit orders with a 50 pip stop is a completely different thing, because that is quite a wide stop, because hopefully you placed it in the outlier vacuum, and that is a set and forget it trade. So the dual approach to me is the better approach. You trade 2 systems, 80% limits, 20% at the market, and maybe you only fill 50% of your limits. So really it's more like 50-20%. Now you're actually trading 30% of the market, because you're probably not going to fill all those limits. And if you're really conservative, you probably only fill 20% of your limits, because you're like, yeah, if it keeps going down like that, I don't know if I could even handle buying into that. And the reason why it's difficult is because as it's dropping, there has to be some part of your mind that says, gee, I wish I was short. But there is a part of my mind that says, gee, I wish I was short, because I want to make money every fucking minute. And it's dropping right now. Why aren't I short? And I always tell myself, because I have two people in my head apparently talking there. The other part of me says, dude, because you're a buyer, number one, and you're not going to sell this down here. It's just ridiculously low. Even if it keeps dropping, but I'm never going to resolve that. I figured that was never going to go away, that problem. So the workaround is to put the limits in deeper and say, well, there's nothing I can do about it. But this is not normal life. The problem with trading, it's not a normal way to make money. It's totally perverted because you're saying there's nothing I can do about it. Yeah, you could get out. You could cut your losses short. Okay, but then what if the market reverses? You don't know. I don't know when it's going to stop tanking. And maybe it's not even going to fill my limits. And now I'm not making any money. I haven't lost any money. Well, it's a good thing. You have to take the most premium trades. Well, I decided that there was no such thing as a premium trade. I figured that in 100 trades, if 60 of them are good and it's enough money, if I can make $500 a day, okay, that's fine. I'm fine with that. Now, holding a position for 10 years could be worth $500 a day, and you'd be like, wow, you made $500 a day, and all you did is pull the trigger once every 10 years. Those are two different mindsets. Not to mention, if you really have that much margin locked up in that trade, you really can't take too much out of the account because you're using so much margin to hold on to that giant winning position. Now, granted, if the equity's up, there's money to take out, but you still are having to lock up the money to hold that position, and that may be. I know people say OCD. There's no such thing as OCD. OCD, this obsessive compulsive disorder. There's no such thing. Everybody's like that. Who doesn't give a fuck on some level of some really insignificant thing to the universe and other people that you really care about? These are all just, I hate to get into this stuff, but it's all bullshit. These are shrinks trying to make, you need therapy. You have OCD. There's a drug. I watched this chick from Paramore. Ever see this girl? Cute little blonde girl. This Paramore band. As soon as YouTube Shorts figured out I liked her, I see her on stage all the time. I'm like, wow, she can sing. Yeah, she can sing. But she's cute. I see this thing where she's on an interview saying, I have a therapist and I take antidepressants. Dude, you're that hot. You're singing on stage. Everybody loves you. And you're depressed. And you're on fucking serotonin retake of inhibitors. Wow. So, is anybody immune from fucking... I don't think... I guess I'm not on this. I don't see a therapist. I guess I did. Because I was just so curious. Like, what the fuck? I am so upset. Why am I so upset? Like, I just couldn't figure it out. But, so, that's what you do if you got the money. And I figured it was rent-a-friend because I thought, well, this person's forced to listen to me. Of course, I told the story before that I went to this lady that was on the radio. I thought she's filling in for a very famous shrink that was on the radio, this other lady. I thought she must be fucking good. If she was to fill in, I want to see her. And I swear she fell asleep when I was complaining about my life. And I was like, wow. And she wanted to see me twice a week at $80 for 50 minutes. I was like, wow, man. And I said to her once, I'm like, am I keeping you awake? Am I you okay? Oh no, I'm listening, she said. And maybe she really was closing her eyes and she wanted to distract herself with my ugly mugs. So maybe she's thinking, you know what? Let me just listen to him. I wish she would have said to me, you don't mind if I close my eyes and really focus on your voice. No, as long as you don't fall asleep and start snoring. The snoring is what I don't like. No, she didn't snore, but I thought, oof, if you start snoring, I know, I know you're sleeping now. She's young. She wasn't Joe Biden's age. She was young enough. She could have stayed awake a little more. I'd stay, dude, for $80 in 50 minutes. I'd be awake because of a high rent office building. Maybe that was a good price back then. This is this is a long time ago. This is 2000 and oh god, this is like 1998, I think. So yeah, I'm over it now. I'll be good. No, I was sent to a shrink a long time ago when I was a kid. They were like, "What the fuck is wrong with this motherfucker?" Then they sent me to boarding school. So I've had it tough. I don't fit in well. I don't think. I mean, it's just I don't like that. Like I didn't want to be in grade school because I thought, dude, you show me how to build a car or something here? No, we're gonna do today. We're gonna learn how to speak French. I'm thinking, are we in France? No. Last time I checked, no. Well, you have to take a language. Is it going to be Spanish or French? French. How about slang? Like fuck you. Like hello. How about teach me Ebonics or something I can use? Go to the ghetto and get some fucking better drugs here. Oh god. So yeah, the and of course that's most of the money's made, I suppose, from selling classes and how to trade the market and stuff. But I have a very small group of people. So if somebody emails me, I'll give you a 3 hour video because I'm like, yeah, I can think about three people that. And somebody said, "Oh, glad to see you're back." I don't want to. The thing with the making money, I'm sure I could lay that all out, but I'm too spoiled. I like to eat ice cream and watch a movie or something. I guess I'm Joe Biden. I'm kind of old. So I don't really figure it's. And I know it's not a good fit because even though I wrote those scripts, doesn't mean that people want to do that stuff. Of course, the market order scripts are certainly easy for people to get their brain around because it's you babysit the thing, you're shooting, you're a sniper, you got your gun in your hand, you got the bullets, and you're out fucking hunting money. The limit entry is really difficult if you want to be there to see your baby born. So if you're if you're out whoring around making a bunch of babies and you're hey, do you really want to see him born? You got time for that? But if you're gonna, one at a time, right? Or you want to, you only trade. You wait to get in one ticket, get on the next ticket out. You really gotta. In my view, it's gonna be. Every trade's a good trade, or all the trades. If you're gonna get in every 10 pips, it goes down. I got a 10 pip grid in there waiting to get filled, and I just do the math. The other thing about the limit order, it's very disciplined because you've already picked out the area you want to buy into. And if you're going to go to sleep for 8 hours, you put an 8 hour expiration in there, and you go, yeah, I know. Well, you can actually drop the thing on the chart at 10 o'clock at night and know by 6 a.m. they'll expire, and then uh, between 5 o'clock in the morning, like the end of that, when that orange part starts on this chart, this is really when you kind of want to get in the market, is between 5 o'clock and 9 o'clock. And if you get in at 5, maybe you're out of some of the tickets by 6:30 because that little wick has happened. But every day is different, and I don't think there's a way to create a system that always makes money. So the robot that I built, it buys about 5 different levels based on 5 different criteria. So it's like 5 robots in one of just buying a plunge in the market. It has to happen a certain period of time. And that robot performs pretty damn good. It makes back the money. It does have drawdowns, but man, overall, I'm like, wow, this thing really in that one area of the market. So if the market starts to become a 500 pip a day market in the euro, it's just going to destroy every robot that was built on pips. But if your robot's built on drama, and it's adjusting to the drama, which mine doesn't, and neither do my scripts, so the scripts are hard written. So the trading logic you'd have to employ if the market starts to go into 1,000 pip windows, then that robot's going to say, well, we better be on, or AI is going to tell you, if you don't want to blow up the account, or you don't want to stress out your $10,000 account, you're going to have to open a nano account and trade nanos. And that's why forex became available to the guy in the street, because in the year what was it, probably 1990, I don't know what forex started, but well, it started way back there, but you needed to trade standard lots. You were just a bank. And then they had mini lots, and this is the first time the public was like, yeah, okay, we can have there are a lot of mini lot accounts. There was no micro lots. But when micro lots came with high leverage, it became the first time, it was like Bitcoin, the first time you were able to step into a 24-hour exchange that was fluctuating, where you could actually extract a profit if you were clever enough to figure out how to get in and out of the market and logically make money, because you want to be able to repeat the trade. And that's why I read all those books, because I don't want to just trade off of random shit and think, well, I got good money management. I thought that I needed to read the market so well that I knew where the market was going to go and when's the best time to get in. But when I started to experiment with the grid system of just literally buying every 10 pips or every 20 pips it dropped without regard to any indicator, although the view of the looking back into the last known super deep old prices into this vacuum of, yeah, when it starts to crush into that path of least resistance, those new prices, so gold could go to $5,000 and stuff, but things have to consolidate for at least 80% of the time to form the void above and below. So the cause and effect is, constantly forming. That when the market's dead, it's in the process of creating this tension that's holding it. There's not enough, the market's kind of closed. And now the next session, so we've been here 2 hours. I've been yammering out here. So we're halfway through the session right now. Looks like we're going to break out and keep going up. So I'd be holding everything I bought in this window here and probably getting out around 6 a.m. and dump and reload. On the 15-minute chart, you can see here those kind of trades where, say you bought here, and now I'm holding here and we're crushing into this. I'm probably cashing out of something just because, like I said, I'm getting out every 2 pips apart. And maybe I'm out of 75% of the position here. I probably just dump the whole thing, go to sleep. I don't think it's really going to go here. I mean, this is U.S. markets, so it's daytime. But by the end of the day, I'm probably going to dump it and just go, okay, let's just come back in and do that again with limits. Now here, I will get kind of crushed if I oversize that. But if I traded really big here, I could trade lightly here. So these things are constantly changing. There is no fucking way, in my mind, in my opinion, of looking at this shit for 20 years now, that there's a way to take and only the premium trades, because it doesn't always happen that, and this is a premium place to sell and then buy it back, and all happen in 8 hours. But by the same, that's just one incident. You could just as easily bought heavy into this and make almost the same amount of pips, actually, in about the same amount of time there. And this is 30% bigger position than this one. It's the same amount of money. So it's really, some days you lose 200, some days you make 200, some days you make 600, some days you lose 300. But at the end of the month, right where you at? Or you go for this Bob Booker guy. He's probably hold the fucker for 2 years and be like that chart on the yen. He'd be like, yeah, if you held on to that one, no shit, that's a fucking nice winner. That's also 10 years, and what if you got divorced and you got to liquidate it to pay your attorneys, and whatever comes up, you got to pull money into the account. There's that. So we always got to consider all the things in our life that are going to interrupt these things. Got to go fix the car. Got to go to the bank. Got to go to the store. Got to get something to eat. I can't sit here and watch the fucking market on my desktop all night. So I take my tablet with me. I got scripts on the tablet. So sometimes I want to have breakfast. And here comes the news, and I'm like, oh, got to take a fucking tablet to the restaurant. And trading on the tablet is different because I don't like to do drag and drops there, so they're all double-click limit entries and all double-click market orders. I always double-click market orders on a desktop, but on the desktop, you can be very precise. So I'll lay the tickets in, deep tickets on the desktop, go somewhere, whip out the tablet, and I got my cell phone on. So I got Android running MT4, but you can't run scripts on there. So I watch the equity and I watch the 4-hour chart. It's very clean. I have just a line chart on top of a bar chart. I think it's set to 1 period moving average. It might just be line chart. I think on the phone it's just line chart on top of a bar chart. No, it is 1 period moving, I think. I have to check. It's been so long since I changed it. My template on the Android, I think it's just a line chart. I'll look. But I think I just took off the I just went to a bar chart. I can't remember, forget. But and I had the time, like it kind of looks like this chart, but I can't do the fancy I have a real candlestick chart. But I don't like candlestick charts, so I run the line chart. So I'll put the candlestick up chart sometimes, but I've moved away from the candlesticks because I don't care about the open. I don't care about the open. So people say it's an engulfing this, it's a bullish candle. Well, in my mind, if the line is down, it's down. If the line is up, the market closed up. And then when I tell the robot how to build the EA, I say, if the market's up 20 pips in the last hour, put sell limits above. and buy limits below. Actually, this thing's trading. The one I built trades irregardless. Actually, well, I had the one filter. It was RSI. If RSI, I have a 100 period RSI. You can run a 100 period RSI in the robot because you couldn't see that on the chart very well, but the robot can see the very teeny tiny shift that it's actually above that 50, and now it starts to put in, I can't remember if it's buy limits or sell limits, but it only take one side of the trade. And then I had another robot that I wrote that does a hedge without any filter from RSI or moving average. And that robot does actually pretty damn good because the trailing stop is what saves it. So money management is the thing. Now, you always give up. If I widen my trailing stop, the robot will make a lot of money, but then it'll get crushed. But if you have 10 robots, and I think the guy was asking me about different markets. So if you build a Euro bot, that's going to trade tight. If you build a yen bot, it's going to trade wide. It's going to cost 4 times as much to run that yen bot. Because when the yen goes screaming, actually those 10 yen bots, but I do think it's possible. I would babysit the bot, by the way, and when I test it, I can't babysit it. I'm relying on that trailing stop to at least make my 30 pips, lock that in, so if the news comes out or something gets crazy. But that robot I'm running on a fixed pip broker, so I know when I back test it that it's a trade that's possible, because when the news comes out, since my broker is fixed at 2 pips on the euro, it is fucking volatile because it has to accommodate the fact that the spread is so tight. Whereas the broker, at least it looks volatile because the broker that's got the floating spread, his spread goes to 25 pips for a millisecond. Well, you can't survive that trade, and the robot, when you back test it on that platform, cannot. I don't think the data includes the spread. So when you back test it, I don't know if people realize that your robot's not going to work on a floating. If it's a robot that's always on, right? You could tell the robot don't trade during the news, okay? But I'm presupposing your robot is so fucking smart. He's on all day going, okay, where's the next fucking trade? He should be that smart. Or you could tell him, listen, you're a trend bot, so I cannot let you trade all the time. You're waiting for the Asian setup. And I remember this guy who builds robots, I think manually. I don't think he uses AI. I make fun of him, Ryan Brown. Okay. I don't know if he's still doing it. I haven't looked at his channel in a while. But he built, he had this RMI bot, it was like an RSI bot, and it did pretty good, right? And then one night he was like, oh, look at this robot I built. It buys the Asian and sells the US or something like that. And look at how it's got this streak of winning. And then, it's so cute. I mean, we all do this, right? You got to give the kid a break. He's like, oh, it stopped working. Yeah, because as soon as the market changes its characteristics of not doing that same rhythm over that same period and saying, oh, I always get on my trades on a Wednesday. Really? Well, if you back test that, you'd be like, yeah, but this Wednesday, it just kept tanking. It wasn't the reversal. The middle of the week didn't reverse. I mean, just look at it now. Put the 4-hour chart up and look at the middle of the week. Is that really the time to go the other way? It is until it doesn't work. And when it doesn't work, the market's going into 1,000 pip windows. And you're like, geez, oof, I thought I had this perfect system. I don't see it. Okay, here's a Wednesday. You could have sold it, but then what? right in the middle of the week. Right, so here's Wednesday morning. What do you do? It's not the high. Here's the high of the week. Okay, right here. But the high of the week was here, and that wasn't really a lot of money. It was better to buy, I guess, here. Right, this is here's Monday, Tuesday. Okay, so Wednesday evening you bought it. It wasn't U.S. Wednesday session open. I guess here, right? But it's not the reversal point to go this way. I guess you could say this one is the only one that's kind of like right in the middle of the week there. Here's a perfect middle of the week Wednesday sell. It's Wednesday reverses. There's no rhyme or reason. ICT's got his head up his ass. I could out trade him on this chart just being like, dude, let's just get in here with a grid. Cash out to here. Buy here, cash out. Buy here, cash out. I don't have any. I just don't want to ride this thing. I don't want to buy here and sell here. I don't want to hold that for a week. Oh, I bought here on Sunday night and I got out Friday. You might be that guy. I know I'm not. Here, I bought on Sunday and I got out at the end of the week. Got in on Sunday. Got out at the end of the week. Didn't make any, like, break even. Yeah, like, look, just a minute. You don't have to back. You could, I don't know, this back testing thing, can't you see that it works sometimes and it doesn't work the other? Do you really have to back test it? Maybe I am back testing it. But I'm not telling the computer, listen, go sift through this. I already know what's going to happen. In fact, every robot I've written for the past 20, I'm like, yeah, this is probably going to make money and then it's going to blow up. It'll make a lot of money and then blow up because I can see I've already set the stops too wide. If I tighten them up, I'm like, it only made $3,000, but it didn't blow up. So having the robots that do come in, if you got 20 robots running on the euro, and they're each doing a different task. A couple are getting in maybe at the market when those perfect conditions show up because that trade does work then. It really does work. And so nothing works all the time, which is, you couldn't run a business like that. You'd be like, every time we put this hot chick on the poster, that one that wants to kill herself, she's depressed, she always, ends up crying at the end of the night. But man, everybody loves her. It's just too crazy. It's like having 20 girlfriends and trying to manage them. You can't. So you just get each girl like a bracelet and you're like, okay, this one, I'm not going to spend too much money on her. But now you got to have thought. You got to worry about all these things, right? Somebody asked me, how do you manage all those tickets? I said, I really don't. They're already pre-managed. I know if it goes 40 pips down, they're going to stop that one out. So I'm okay having some of them die in a car crash on the way to get beer. But that's so cold. You really can't. Babysitting's almost a bad term because it's like your baby, but they are my babies. Each trade's my little baby. I hope he goes to college. No, got hit by a car. Shit. But it's an army of tickets, It's like army ants, They build bridges. They're like, dude, I'm going to spot you on this one. Like 100 of us are just going to be a river of support. You guys can run on top of us. Don't they do that with the gymnast girls? The light one gets on the top. The spinner's on the top. But yeah, you don't have to. And it depends where you live on the planet. The people in Europe have a different view, I'm sure. When I was in California, I was like, dude, 3 hours? This is crazy. Like, you mean to tell me that 9 o'clock at night is midnight? And and it was like, okay, That's interesting. And it takes a while to get used to it. And actually, you have to find the session if you want to babysit it on the 15-minute scalp in big positions. Find the time window you want to trade it. There is no perfect answer because for everybody to make the same amount of money and make a lot of money, nobody can trade the same system because it would just never, they couldn't tolerate it. Trust me. Everybody's OCD. Everybody has a niche thought that they like. Now, everybody agrees they like really good beer, but some people don't even drink beer. So how do you judge the trade? It should be a really good trade. But the market's just like, imagine the different beers coming out every day. Sometimes there's 5 new beers on the market. Sometimes there's 20. What's the best beer? That's basically what the market is. There's so many good prices. There's so many good trades. If the size fits the range that you can tolerate to absorb price action, if you're trading in a grid limit entry system, but maybe you are a sniper. You wait for the news to come out. You're in the time window. You got your finger on the trigger. You pull the trigger. You make $1,300 in 14 minutes, and you stop trading for the day. But that's not me. I couldn't do it. But there's people that do that. They really do. And they, they figured out how to do it. They like it. They can't imagine another way to trade it. And I just was never. I tried it when I was doing commodity trading. The market was open for. I had my chart set to 45 minutes because it was 5 45-minute bars. What that comes out to, I think it's like the market was only open for, I don't know, whatever that comes out to, 3.5 hours or something crazy. Because it started opening at 10 o'clock in the morning, the grain market. Soybeans would be trading that shit between like 10:30 and they close at 2 or something, right? And if you want to hold a position overnight, you need at least like $1,200. I don't know what it is now, but $1,200 in your account. Well, fucking forex, I could be in a fucking standard lot for, $200. $100,000 position. That was 100. It was like I can't remember. It was 10,000 bushels or something of soybeans or corn or whatever the fuck, wheat. And wheat traded, it was kind of expensive to trade wheat, but oats barely moved. So oats was like Swiss franc. It just didn't move. And I thought, well, you're not going to make a lot of money. You're not going to lose a lot of money. You only need $500 in your account because the volatility is what gave you the margin requirement. Where the margin requirements in forex are just a fraction of the price. They're not based on volatility. The problem with the futures market is if the market heated up. I remember when palladium, you needed $80,000 in your account to trade the 5,000 ounce contract or 1,000 ounce contract of palladium because palladium went berserk. It went up to like a crazy price, and so that's the other consideration. And maybe as time goes on, just like playing guitar or something. So you could play with a guitar pick or you could play with your fingers. Which is the best technique? Whatever you can tolerate. Maybe you do want to become you want to pluck the guitar. You don't want to strum the guitar with a pick. And I guess we're not talking about making money on these techniques, but what do you think you'd rather do? Because you could make money both ways if you decided. And do you specialize, or do you want to be, I do both, depending on the song. So depending on the terrain of the market, what can you, when the market shifts to being highly volatile, do you just step away? Trend traders would walk away from a from a wick. They wouldn't trade a wick. They would wait for the market to calm down and go into a doji. And I've done that video a million times where when the market gets quiet, this is when you could trade on a buy stop, sell stop, let it go, whichever way it goes, breaks out. But you got to scalp out of that because it may just come flying back and go below from where you got in. And nobody knows what's going to happen there. I just can't imagine this dumb shit that people fall for. This ICT guy that's like, I can pick the top tick of the day. Well, I can on hindsight here, but I never saw him do that trade. Why doesn't he bet why doesn't he go in 40 standard lots on that trade in NASDAQ? And just stop trading and stop doing dumb shit videos with his fucking what is it called? Oh God, it starts with an E, but it's this Enigma. Or does that start with an I? I don't know. But these kind of like, oh, I have the inside track, inner circle. You fucking kid. People love that shit, dude. They gobble that up like lose 10 pounds in 5 minutes while eating ice cream. Yeah, on a treadmill. And then just have to throw up every day, right? Yeah, they didn't tell you about that. Then you got to get new teeth. Because your body, stomach acid just took them out. Just etched your teeth. Anyways, I'm not going to torture anymore. It's 2 hours, 21 minutes. So I hope that helps. There's a lot of stuff I wanted to say I didn't say. And it's just too deep of a subject because the problem is that you're risking money. It's like, having a mohel that's blind work on your kid. It's risky, and but you have to build a callus up to the fluctuations because the bigger you trade, if you want to keep the stress low, the shorter the time window you want to hold the trade. Like, so you don't want to be in the market that long in a big position because you won't be able to survive. If the account's not big enough, you won't be able to survive when the news comes out and the spread gets wide if you're in the floating system, and you will not be able to survive. Like, if you can't get out and it's dripping against you, it's dripping down, and it just keeps going down and down and down, and you're like, shit. Like, wow, this is really a different kind of... It's different when the news comes out and just stops you out hard, but when it keeps dripping down, you're like, Jesus. I typically will buy lightly into that at the market thinking, well, like I said before, I don't have a choice. I'm a buyer, and I have a sizing system, and that's mostly what it consists of is how many tickets, how deep are they, and how many are... So there's the bad ratios, the break evens, and the good ratios all blended in, because it's the only way to have a robust system, in my opinion, is to cover all those handles with different ratios and just let the chips fall where they go. Just let it happen. I tell myself this while I'm in the trade. I'll say, even out loud in my mind, of course, I'm like, dude, there's nothing you can do. You just have to... You got to wait for 6 a.m. It's either going to fill it. And if I'm right about the trade and I'm thinking, man, I wish it wasn't bigger, that's why I'll pull the trigger on the market orders. But putting the limits in kept me from buying at the market because I'm like, we're 5 pips from getting filled. So if I'm really eager, instead of buying at the market, I'll just double click a 15-minute script or a 30-minute expiration that's 3 pips deep. Because if I'm getting a 3 pip discount, it's like as close to it might fill in 7 minutes or 2 hours, depending how dead the market is, and how long the expiration of that ticket is. So that's the game for me. The challenge is get the size right, the depth, and the expiration. How far away? When does it expire? And how many tickets? The size, the depth, and the expiration. So the robot's built on those three criteria. And that's it. It's not looking at a moving average crossover. And I try to use that as a dumb filter just so it didn't trade pure hedges all the time, looking to get filled on both sides of the market. But that does work actually better sometimes if the market's choppy. Since you can't predict the future drama, I think the only answer, if you're going to go robots, I traded this account manually. Manually, I'm up 77 grand, but I'm going to draw down right now. Market's going down, but I should buy some more then. So go to the 1 hour chart and buy some more here. So it's going down here. I'm just going to buy a 30K at the market. Sorry, I probably blew your ears out there. I'll put buy limits in here. I forgot that. So this is a demo account. I don't care. So I'm already long, but I'll buy more. Here's a 4 hour chart. Here's a 30-minute chart. So if it comes down here, I could have sold everything here. I would have been up 80 grand. I'm in a big position. But I'm long from down here. So this is the thing I bought. Was this plunge. When it got below here, I loaded a wagon. Just loaded the fucking wagon. I can always scalp about 20 pips off. This is the euro now. So the euro is a little tamer. It's way less. It's a very tight market, very tight spread. Under a pip, typically, it will go to a half a pip for a little bit, and that's when you take advantage of those really, really shallow limit orders. But I suspect we're going to sell off into the U.S. This is coming into Friday here. This is last session, and there's 5 p.m. So people that want to bet, where is it going to be by then? Okay, can we take out the low of these 2 days? Sure. I don't know if there's any big news coming out tomorrow, but buying here and cashing out to there, sell above that, sell above that, buy below here, buy here again. But I'm already long from here, so I could have bought here in the U.S., dumped it by the end of the day, or I'm still definitely dump into the floor here. But when I get above here, you got to think about cashing out, right? There's this vacuum. It spikes up in there, bing, bang, bong. That's the half-hour chart. It's a complete auction. Breaks out. If you didn't cash out of your breakout trades coming out of here, your trend trade, if you didn't get out, you got your ass kicked. You're underwater. So if you're going to enter in Asia, or at the end of the day, you're long, you're a trend trader, got to cash out. If you buy here and you do not cash out of something here, you're fucked. So it ain't going up there. It did not go up there. You sold here. Too tight a stop. You didn't make it. Look at this. This is a lot of pips. Come back in here. At the end of the day, buy it. This was the easiest buy at the market at the end of the day. This is also very deep. This actually took out the low of, I think, go back 2 years there or something. But to me, this is easy. I'll have buy limits here. Next week, if it comes down here, I just know I'm going to buy it. If it goes up here, I'll probably sell it. I don't sell a lot, but I'll sell it up here because it's just obvious. It's just obvious. And just wait for those limits. I'm going to wait for the limits, and if we don't make it down there, and I see that I'm only in, if I get to 150K here, and I'll save about another 2 standard lots for buying here on limits. If I don't fill these limits down here, then if we only make it to here by then, I'll be buying 5 a.m., because all these limits will fill, and I'll cash out if we take out this or this. I'll dump everything into the weekend. Can you make it to 5 p.m.? How fast can we get there? You got to have some. If you just did a complete Gann grid extension off of here, so imagine you got the diagonal grid here. What's it going to be, like this? Or here to the end of U.S. session. It's very crude, symmetrical projection. About 45 degrees there. Just on the current way I've got it set. And then anywhere in between. I used to have it indicated that we're projected, but is that realistic? Is that realistic? We've seen that happen. By the end of the day, I have ICT tell me, where is it going to be by 5 p.m.? If he's such a fucking guru, where's it going to be at the end of the day? Here. Take this out, blow everybody's brains out. This blew people's minds here, this shit. Wow, those are fun trades. The sellers up here are fucking it's a killer trade there. But I'll buy here. But I'm having 8 pip targets on this. It's the yen. I'm not going to put an 8 pip target on the yen because, let's face it, it's going to move more than 8 pips. Anyways, that's that. I got to go watch some bad movies. I want to go watch people get pulled over. Lately, there's been a lot of politicians and cops getting pulled over drunk. People are coming unwrapped over there, and the cop's like, "Can you give me a break on this one?" The guy's like, "No, dude, we're on body cam. Are you fucking stupid?" Anyways, that's that.